So, as we have a quick look at the grid for Anglesey and the Coastal Circuit, Tom Roach and James Blake Baldwin are the front of the grid with Ed Gay and Brian Chandler, Simon Baldwin with Daniel Rogers, Henderson and Smith with Goddard and Jenkins, the top 10. Alistair Topley and Alex Preston. Alex Preston a little bit further down than we would be expecting to see him, and Callum Edwards and Charlie Charman. Further down the grid, we can see Wayne Lamonte and Will Blackwell Chambers, and right down there in 27th and 28th place, John Coburn Evans and John Killer Kinghorn. That's going to be a very, very eventful grid as we can see them flashing through. Powells and Simpson with Tasker and Yeomans rounding out the whole of the grid here at Anglesey. A huge field of MX-5s, and well, this circuit is going to be absolutely fantastic. It suits MX-5s. And we are already under starters' orders. And away we go. It's a very quick start. This Mr. Starter was on it with the lights here as the cars head down towards the first corner. Round to go, round turn one, and it's Roach who leads at the front. Roach accelerating away from James Blake Baldwin. Blake Baldwin, the man of the meeting at the last time out of Snetterton. As we come through the banking for the first time, Ed Gay's got himself up into third position, and he's pushing Chandler a little bit wide there. Brian Chandler says no and tries to cut across the back of Ed Gay. And he gets into fourth place, but he's going to have to watch because Baldwin is right behind him as they head through Church. Very, very fast right-hand corner, and then they start the kind of along the coast of Anglesey, and it starts to climb. This is Henderson tucked in there as well. They climb all the way up towards the rocket section. You can see the sea in the background there. You get a really great view from here at Anglesey. Great circuit to view and race on through the rocket section of the track here. On board with Brian Chandler, looking back and getting a couple of little taps here from Simon Baldwin. Simon Baldwin means business in this race, that's for sure. As we head through this little series of bends here, very important not to make a mistake here towards the end of the lap as Chandler drops a wheel off. They come downhill in towards the corkscrew area of the track, and this is where they come back onto the coastal section, the coastal track. And everybody battling all the way down through the field. But here we come to round out the first lap. It's Ed Gay in third position, and he's making a move, isn't he? He's starting to catch these two leaders at the front. Roachy leads from James Blake Baldwin 1 and 2, but look at that man in third place just outside. Here he comes, the white car just dropping a wheel off there. Ed Gay does mean business. He's been putting together a championship that is starting to really flourish now. And let's keep our eyes on that man in third place because he's wriggled away from Brian Chandler, or has he? Just as we say that, big up Ed Gay, all of a sudden Brian Chandler seems to be catching the back of him. These two away at the front and Chandler right tucked in there. Great showing from Brian Chandler here. As we head along towards the rocket section of the track, extremely fast uphill section here where things could start going just that little bit light on the car as you hit the brakes. For the tricky left of the rocket section, now here we go, it's still Roach who leads away from James Blake Baldwin. Blake Baldwin really was the man of the meeting at Snetterton. There's no getting away from that as Brian Chandler has a quick look in the mirrors there. And he's focused on the back of this. Oh, a little bit of turn and oversteer there. Focused on the back of Ed Gay, who is right in front of him now. Look at that for a view. Fantastic. As we come down towards the corkscrew section of the track. Tom Roach and Blake Baldwin. Now, they're going to have to watch that Roachy doesn't stretch away here in the Blendini Motorsport car. They're going to have to keep good eye on him. And Alan Henderson now behind Simon Baldwin. And is that Will Blackwell Chambers in there as well? Brett Smith's in there. Everybody's in there. It's a very, very busy mid-pack. We're on board with Simon Goddard as we come along here. Simon Goddard, it was actually Daniel Rogers. Sorry, Daniel. Just lost you for a second there, but on board with Goddard in the number 46 car. In towards the banking. Turns the little MX-5 in there, a little bit of mid-corner understeer by the looks of it there. Sounding like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't really. As we come back along here, Alan Henderson tucked right in behind Simon Baldwin. And these things do slipstream pretty well, so they've got to try and keep right tucked in here. Now, can Henderson make a move? Look at that, that is so close. That's as close as you can get without actually touching. And as we look ahead as well, Ed Gay's lost a position to Brian Chandler, so the hard-charging Chandler gets himself up into third place, and a good move. Ed Gay won't be very happy with that one. As we see Daniel Rogers tagged into the back of Alan Henderson. Very important part of the track before we come up towards the end of the circuit, end of the lap, the Peel section as we then go downhill. That almost looks like it could be Cadwell Park, the bottom of the gooseneck there. Mansfield section as we come into the corkscrew. Henderson quite quick in through there. And in these last two corners there, you've got to be absolutely spot on. You don't want to be slow out there because it's the finish line just as you accelerate out, passing the pit complex at Anglesey Circuit. And we click off another lap. Focusing on Alan Henderson, the number 90 car. Black top, white stripe and red bottom, but he has got Daniel Rogers, the hard charging Rogers, all over him right now as they come through here, and Simon Baldwin ahead. But look at this at the front. Blake Baldwin has got alongside Tom Rocher. He's on the better side. 1 and 2 swap positions. The champion and runner-up from last year in the championship swap positions, so it's now 2 at the front. So James Blake Baldwin, he will be happy, chuckling away underneath that helmet, I can guarantee you. Bouncing off the back of a fantastic Snetterton, and he's now leading. There's a bit of a lock up there, but he manages to control that as they go in towards the rocket section. This is a great overtaking area here, but you've got to watch, because if you go through there and you don't complete the move 100%, the man you were trying to pass on the better line for the next right-hander. A little look in the mirror for Brian Chandler there as he turns in, and he's seeing this ahead of him, and Chandler's catching. Chandler is definitely starting to catch and home in as we go down through the corkscrew section of the circuit. All downhill, all the way in through this. And we're looking ahead there. And we can see the pedals also on Brian Chandler's car there as he clicks off another lap. Through the first corner, there's the Blendini Motorsport car. Now after qualifying was quite controversial actually. Lots and lots of cars getting their fastest laps disallowed for track limits, exceeding track limits. So the driver's been warned about that by race control. You've got to have 2 wheels inside the white lines at all time on the racetrack. You can't have 4 wheels over the white lines. So this is something that they're going to be very, very strict on. The drivers know about this, especially after qualifying. Chandler adjusts his rear view mirror there. Probably not want to see what's behind him, because it's going to be that white car of Ed Gay. As they start the climb, you can see the climb starting all the way up towards Rocket here. Straight line bit of braking. Ed Gay in the white car just behind Brian Chandler. Past the Marshalls post and through they come. Grey spectator bankings also all the way around the outside here of Anglesey. And then accelerate on through the next corner, the next right-hander, which is called Peel. We focus on number 76, Brian Chandler just now. You can hear the guys using the exit curbs. That would be James Blake Baldwin absolutely rattling them just a little bit out of sight. And Blake Baldwin's putting on a charge here. He's actually starting to pull away from Tom Roach, so Roach will be noticing this, and he'll be well aware that James Blake Baldwin is starting to put together a bit of a championship charge now. As we look back at Ed Gay, as we cross the line, Ed Gay's got the luxury of looking in his mirror and seeing about a 2 or 3 second buffer over the next car, which is, it's not Simon Baldwin, is it? It's still Daniel Rogers behind him, quite a way behind. There's Simon Baldwin, it is actually Baldwin, the Baldwin, Henderson and Rogers battle. So watch these guys coming through. 5th, 6th and 7th, and Simon Goddard just off the back of them just now as well in 8th position. Quite windy here at Anglesey. It's always a little bit windy when you're beside the coast, but getting some absolutely beautiful weather as once again Chandler gives us a reverse onboard, looking straight into the face of Ed Gay. As you see them climbing all the way up the hill there, you can see the elevation change. Nice bit of braking, gets it turned in. Chandler putting together some pretty good laps. Ed Gay very, very close to those corner markers there, and Chandler has now caught up with Tom Roach, and Tom Roach is going to have a bit of trouble now because he's got the fast charging Chandler, but he's also brought Ed Gay along with him. Ed Gay's joined the party. Can Simon Baldwin, can he drag Alan Henderson along, give him a good tow and possibly catch up with the guys in front of him as well? This is all happening in the first race here at Anglesey. As down the hill they come. The corner markers on the apex there, the tyres they've put on the apex just to stop these guys cutting too much off the corner. Give a driver an inch and they will take an absolute mile. I can tell that from experience. But we go on board again with Simon Goddard as he crosses the start-finish line into turn 1. Very fast left-hander. Car wants to drift quite wide on the exit there, a little bit of understeer mid-corner. You can see maybe a little bit more steering lock than Simon would like. Then gets it turned back in. You can see him leaning and leading with his head there. Proper racing driver at work there, looking at where he's wanting to go. And along the straight we come here. Baldwin is now He's going to have to watch because Alan Henderson means business here. Alan Henderson, very, very consistent this year. We've seen him absolutely all the way through the year be very consistent, as somebody having a bit of a wobble further back there. Brett Smith there getting all out of shape. And that's Alex Preston on the inside of Charlie Charman now. So hello, welcome Alex Preston. About time we start to see that yellow car in the action. Qualified a little bit out of position, we could say. Used to see Alex right at the very front, but Alex just qualifying a little bit further down, making it hard work for himself here at Anglesey. But he's got past one of the blanket cards, he's got past Charlie Charman. You can see Charlie having a little look in the mirror, giving the car a good rev before he changes gear as well. Brett Smith just in front of Preston. As these cars come down towards the corkscrew, then we've got Rhys Jenkins also ahead there. Brett Smith having a little bit of a look there, if anything. That was a cheeky move by Brett Smith there. Now, has that cost him? Has he compromised that by having that possible little lunge there? Don't think so, because Alex Preston hasn't. Oh, as Charlie Charman gets a little bit of oversteer in the car there, trying to get on the gas a bit too quickly, getting a bit of apex curb, also making the car a little bit unstable. But look at this, just a battle for second place has erupted now, because Brian Chandler is all over the back of Tom Roach. And this is going to get very, very exciting now as we come on board with Chandler. That rearview mirror, it's either loose or it took an absolute thumping over the exit curbs there. Up towards the rocket section of the track. Is Chandler going to have a look here? Will he dive towards the inside? No, he won't. He sits in behind Tom Roach as we go back on with Charlie Charman. Because look at that, Brett Smith squeezing Alex Preston towards the inside of the track. Preston takes the little room that's there, but that's going to leave Brett Smith on the inside once they get to the top of the hill. Brett Smith not daft at all. Preston tries to hang it in round the outside. Is he going to manage to do it? Yes, he has. He's stayed on the inside, and there's a move. If you don't get that move 100% done, Brett Smith just showed you there, it gives the other driver the better advantage at the next corner. And Charlie Charman does not need much in the way of encouragement, is he? He's all over the back of Brett Smith as well, thinking about having a way past. That's letting Rhys Jenkins disappear in the orange car at the front. You can see him going down through the corkscrew section of the track now. Oh, another look up the inside. Oh, the little bit of contact there. Brett Smith having a big lunge at Preston. And Preston will be wanting to get a bit of a wriggle on and get away from Brett Smith if he can. He won't be wanting any more of that, I can guarantee you. Giving us a grandstand view of it all, well, Charlie Charman grabs a gear off the exit curb. Brett Smith a little bit leery in front there. Brett Smith just the car moving about quite a bit. He gets a bit of turn. Oh, there's contact! Big thump up the back for us there. Charlie Charman won't be 100% happy with that one, I can tell you that. Big whack up the back, but we're back towards the front. The leaders, look at this. Up the inside, Brian Chandler. He's not got the move 100% completed. That's going to give Tom Roach the inside. They go 3 wide through the rocket section, but Tom Roach just manages to hold off the charging Chandler and the ever-present Ed Gay. Through the peel corner now we go. Now Tom Roach is being defensive, isn't he? Mr. Blendini Motorsport, the current champion, reigning, defending champion. He has got his work cut out because 76 and 14 have arrived and they mean business. Round the last corner we go. James Blake Baldwin will be watching this in his mirror and absolutely loving it. Through the first corner, big deep intake of breath there, not just by the commentator but by the guys in the car as well. Now, is Chandler going to have a look up the inside here? No, he's not. A little bit leery on the brakes there. He's got Ed Gay behind him and he's quite safe. Ed's not going to do any silly manoeuvres, I can guarantee that. A very fast driver but very safe as well, the number 14 car. This time though, Tom Roach has managed to get a bit of a buffer as they come through Church here. He's not got Chandler right behind him. But heading along, Ed Gay, look at that. Ed Gay absolutely in that slipstream as they head up towards the hill. This time Chandler's on the defensive because he's not going to have a look at Roach. He's too far back for that. As Roach goes through Rocket, he gave a little bit of a lovely slide there. Oh, Henderson's got Baldwin issues there as they just come through the Rocket section as well, but the cameraman quite rightly keeps up with this frantic battle for the podium spots. First place looks like it's already sorted and taken care of with James Blake Baldwin. Second place right now is up for grabs. It could be any one of these guys. Roach holds it just now. Chandler wants it. So does Ed Gay. As we come back through Corkscrew, ticking off the laps. Onto the last corner we go. Baldwin and Henderson still in the background. As we cross the line and go through the first corner. Now Tom Roach has got to start thinking about this, because Brian Chandler looks lots faster. He looks so much faster. But it's just picking a place to get past and not doing it, not having a bit of contact, because that's not what the stewards are looking for, and it's not what the drivers are looking for either. As we come onto this fast back straight along the coast through Church, possibly named after the corner at Thruxton. Extremely fast right-hander at Thruxton, an extremely fast corner here at Anglesey. Now look at this, a big draft there. They're going to split Tom Roach if he doesn't watch. Chandler's looking up the inside, he's alongside, he needs to be forceful here. He locks up the inside and he drives Tom Roach right off to the edge of the circuit, and he drives him off the circuit. Now, has that let Ed Gay get through? Brian Chandler was pretty aggressive there. He needed to be. Now where's Ed Gay? Ed Gay could possibly be alongside us from that little dust cloud. He is! So Chandler takes second place, Ed Gay goes into third place, and down to fourth place for Tom Roach, the number 1 car. Roach is looking back up the inside, come downhill, as is Ed Gay, but it's not to be. Chandler just cuts across the front of him. Brian Chandler extremely quick here at Anglesey this weekend, and putting together some pretty impressive laps and dragging Ed Gay along with him. That's not a view you want to see in your rearview mirror, I can guarantee that. The white car with the green bits, number 14. Through turn 1 we go. Brian Chandler has now got the luxury of an empty track in front of him, and if he can just focus on that. Now look at that, Tom Roach is dropping off pretty quickly behind him actually. Simon Baldwin's about to have a shot at that green car, I would imagine. So has Tom Roach actually got a problem? Has that a little bit of contact done something to the Blendini car? Possibly knocked the steering just a little bit out of line? I'm pretty sure we will find out later on. Alan Henderson's still behind, and Daniel Rogers in the 70 car, but here comes Ed Gay getting a big slipstream as they come up towards the Rocket section of track. Sitting in the middle of the road there was Chandler, just making it a little bit awkward for Ed Gay. Through we go. Gay looks for a cutback here to try and cut back at the next corner. It's all about cutbacks. And here we go. Unfortunately, that little rain light right in the road for us here, Brian. You need to move that for another time. But through Peel they come. Chandler runs a little bit wide there. Meanwhile, though, 5 seconds up the road is James Blake Baldwin. He is absolutely disappearing with this one. The number 2 car. He has gone. He has checked out. James Blake Baldwin will be happy with that one. We'll maybe try and get a little glimpse of him just now as we're on board with Chandler. There he goes, just through the first corner. And we pick up with him absolutely right on time. James Blake Baldwin, since Snetterton, really, the championship has come alive for him. Finished runner-up last year and wants that number 1 spot, doesn't he? He wants to take the number 1 plate away. But look at this battle further down. Tom Roach under pressure now from Simon Baldwin. Simon Baldwin's about to go round the outside of him at Rocket. Roach is not going to let that happen. Roach runs him right out to the edge of the track. Henderson's on the prowl as well. He's trying to go round the outside of Simon Baldwin. Simon Baldwin's not going to let that happen. And Daniel Rogers just ready to pick up any places he can as they come through the Peel section of the track now. You've got to think though, that's Brett Smith in front as well. You've got to think though that Tom Roach must have some sort of issue. Tom Roach must be in trouble because he's getting dropped by Chandler and Ed Gay here. And they seem to be working together pretty well, not trying to have goes at each other. In fact, Chandler's just got such a good, strong race pace. I don't think Ed Gay can actually get near him. Having said that, the fastest lap of the race still actually stands for Tom Roach. He set on lap number 2. So that was set very, very early in the race. And look at this, Henderson's trying up the inside of Baldwin, but not to be. Roach runs a little bit wide mid-corner. Through on the inside comes Simon Baldwin. And Tom Roach, he's going to get hung out to dry here as he come up towards Church. He's got 3 cars all on the inside of him. He's about to get clothesline. Can he cut across the front? He just tries to. How was there not contact there? We will never know, as Daniel Rogers gives us a grandstand view of the whole thing. But Roach is run wide on the exit of the corner, and that's let Baldwin, Henderson and Rogers all have a shot of him as they come up towards the Rocket section of the track. And Tom Roach is having an absolute nightmare here in Wales. The Anglesey circuit, he tries to fight as hard as he can to stop Daniel Rogers getting past, but he's lost out to Baldwin and Henderson there. So the number 1 car, it's all going horribly wrong for Tom Roach in this race. Not something we're used to seeing, I would say. here we pick back up with the second and third place man. Then we get Baldwin, Henderson, Roach. Rogers now fancying a shot at that number 1 car as well. So Tom Roach will be back into the garage, scratching his head after this race, wondering where it all went wrong. He's very wide there. He's going to have to watch because he's going to end up getting a driver warning flag. He's using too much of the road as Rogers thinks about having a shot at turn 1 there. Roach, he runs a bit wide and Rogers goes through on the inside. Wow, this is just not what we're used to seeing from Tom Roach, as he is fighting possibly an ill-handling car, or it's just not working for him today at Anglesey. Already a big gap developed between Henderson and these guys. Tom Roach fights back on the inside, gives Daniel Rogers absolutely no room whatsoever as they go through Church. Oh, look ahead to that Simon Baldwin. Baldwin runs wide as they go through Church. A big dust cloud there, and that's like Henderson gets side by side as they go up the hill. We're watching it from Daniel Rogers, and Henderson looks like he's almost passed as they come up towards Rocket, but on the inside Baldwin looks like he just manages to hold that off. Great seeing that from the third or fourth person view there. A little correction on the steering wheel, just little gentle corrections as he goes through there. But here he comes. It's James Blake Baldwin, a man we haven't seen on the television screens very much. So here he comes out of the final corner. It's James Blake Baldwin, and he takes the checker flag. Fantastic drive from James Blake Baldwin. He will be delighted with that one. Brian Chandler's got second place. Ed Gay comes home in third. Bit of a windy way to blow the checker flag there. Well, there's your winner, James Blake Baldwin. 6.8 seconds at the end of the race from Brian Chandler, from Ed Gay and Simon Baldwin. Henderson, Rogers and Goddard, as Brian Chandler comes up and tries to open his door there. Nice little bit of sportsmanship there. And here are the results. Official results from Anglesey sees James Blake Baldwin, Brian Chandler and Ed Gay. Simon Baldwin, Alan Henderson, Daniel Rogers, Simon Goddard, Preston Jenkins and Brett Smith. You may be wondering where Tom Roach is. Well, car number 111.63.117 given 5-second penalties for track limits, and Tom Roach receives a further 30-second penalty, as does number 11 for failing to complete a drive-through penalty. So bring on race number 2.